Welcome to the first episode of our three-part series on the recently published report on artificial intelligence in the South African financial sector, a much anticipated joint venture between the Financial Sector Conduct Authority and the Prudential Authority. The report brings a clearer view of the stance of AI within the South African financial sector. In this episode, we will be looking at the state of AI in our financial sector, and to help us unpack these findings, we are joined by the one and only Nolwazi, a senior specialist in financial technology at the Financial Sector Conduct Authority. Nolwazi has been deeply involved with the research of the report and brings with her a grounded perspective on the opportunities, risks, and the practical highlights of the data. Nolwazi, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Nonki.
So tell us, how was this report conceptualized and what gap were you trying to fill in the sector?
Yeah, that's a very loaded question. But I think the reason why we focused on this study on artificial intelligence was because we saw from news articles that a lot of banks have been implementing, other institutions are implementing. We could find case studies, and we saw that to be a proactive regulator, we need to be on full step or in step with innovation in the financial sector to ensure that consumers are protected and that they are treated fairly, and that financial systemic risks are also curbed against or mitigated as we work with the Prudential Authority on our journey.
So then, according to the research, according to the findings, how would you say, how mature is AI adoption in the South African financial sector?
So we can't really speak of one sector, because if we'd say AI maturity is mature, we'd be talking about the banking sector. They're the largest implementers, the largest sector that intends to invest the most, on top of being the largest sector that's actually adopting AI. We also see that on the other side, the insurance sector only has 8% adoption of artificial intelligence, whereas the banks have 52%. So it's a dynamic or fluid relationship on our maturity in South Africa. As we are growing, implementation is cautious, as you can see with some sectors not implementing it as quickly. But I think that's also on the point on the types of use cases that want to use artificial intelligence for, such as insurance pricing and underwriting. That is a high risk use case. So that will need a lot of work to go into it, ensuring that the right components of governance in place to be able to run those types of use cases in accordance to the mandates of the FSCA and the PA.
Speaking on the differences on adoption rates between the banking sector and the insurance sector, what would you say is pushing the rise of AI or the demand for AI in the financial sector?
So actually we've got a nice section in the report that just looks at the factors driving artificial intelligence adoption. And one thing we see is that efficiency and cost cutting are big motivators. As we can see in our case studies, that some institutions are already implementing generative AI to increase productivity internally with tools such as your co-pilot like we have, and Chubb GPT, one company mentioned that. And we're also seeing that they are interested in implementing AI because of the benefits that they reap as well. Improved cybersecurity, even though it's a two-sided coin, fraud detection, hyper-personalizing consumer experiences to bring forward products that are fit for purpose for the consumer. So there are quite a lot of use cases, but the main drivers we've seen have been cost-cutting in the sense of efficiency, cost-cutting, availability of new technology, availability of data, and the ability to then, with all of that, hyper-personalize and offer other value-added services in the financial sector to consumers.
So you have your work cut out for you, don't you?
Yep, we do.
Nolwazi, thank you so much for talking to us. Well, there you have it. As you can see, this is the state of AI in the South African financial sector. Join us next time as we look at the benefits and the risks of AI in the sector.